I made 4 pages of notes for this review, just to put that into perspective. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome to my review of Star Wars The Last Jedi, spoilers and all, and I think this goes without saying, but... So The Last Jedi was directed by Rian Johnson, the man who directed the very underappreciated film Looper, which came out in 2012. And The Last Jedi is the 8th numbered film in the Star Wars saga. I emphasize numbered as in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 being The Force Awakens, and now 8, The Last Jedi. Star Wars is back. This time, Rey must find Luke Skywalker and bring him back to the Resistance, because the Resistance are in a bit of a spot of bother. The First Order have basically taken over the galaxy and are now trying to snuff out the Resistance once and for all. But they have the one weapon that is more deadly than any in history. Hope. Oh yeah, and Luke Skywalker too. You know, that small thing. This is the movie that everybody is talking about right now. Whether you love it, whether you hate it, everyone's got an opinion of it. This movie's actually a lot more divisive than I thought it was going to be. Last I checked, the critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes showed it at a 93%. And the audience score showed it at a 56%. So while most critics love The Last Jedi, most fans are either in the middle or just don't like the movie. In my opinion, in all honesty, I think The Last Jedi is a great movie and a great addition to the Star Wars saga. The movie is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, which I will talk about in a minute. But I had a total blast watching The Last Jedi. I enjoyed it. I have seen it twice. I've loved it both times. I love the stuff that I love, and I hate the stuff that I hate. So without any further ado, let's talk about what I hate. I think it's universally agreed that the worst part of The Last Jedi is the Finn, Rose, and Benicio del Toro storyline. Just from a narrative standpoint, it was the weakest part of the movie. It felt like a side quest in a video game. You don't have to do it, but at least in a video game, you have the possibility of getting more VC or points or whatever it is. In this movie, there's no VC. There's only disappointment. Basically what happens is that Finn and this girl named Rose, I'll talk about her in a few seconds, they have to go find this code breaker. They go to what is supposedly one of the most dangerous planets in the entire galaxy, the planet known as Cantabite. At first I was excited. I'm like, wow, what's on this planet? Is it a bunch of bounty hunters? Is it like Jabba's palace? Like, what makes the planet so dangerous? Nope, it's actually none of these things. It turns out to be a planet full of rich aliens gambling at a casino. Dun, dun, dun? Finn and Rose, who I will affectionately call the Lovebirds, get in trouble with the planet's police and they end up in jail. Until they find Benicio del Toro's character, who basically plays drunk Johnny Depp. Rather, a drunk Benicio del Toro impersonator. I think the story behind this character is that he's not a character at all. Benicio del Toro just didn't know he was being filmed. Del Toro was just sleeping off a hangover after the Pirates of the Caribbean 5 premiere. And Rian Johnson was like, "Is that Benicio del Toro? Quick, camera crew, follow me!" Nevertheless, they break out of the casino jail, they race back to the fleet, and they break the code. Only for the First Order to capture. And to find out that Del Toro basically sold them out. For money. Imagine my shock. This story arc fails for 2 reasons. Number 1, Finn and Rose have absolutely no chemistry. And this is not a knock against John Boyega. I think he's a great actor. It's the Rose character that I just cannot stand. She is basically a human exposition generator. Every line of her dialogue is basically, we must find this in order to go here and then get back to the fleet. And the movie tries to make them an item, and it's just awful. there's a scene near the end of the movie where they kiss, and it's like you're kissing your cousin or something like that. I have no social skills, and I have no skills with the ladies, but in that theater, I was like, dude, I could have done better than that. And number 2, this whole arc is riding on a thing, and the thing turns out to be nothing. It served only one purpose, to elongate the movie, and I did not like it. The rest of the movie is actually very good, so let's now talk about that. Specifically the arc between Rey, Kylo Ren, and Luke, and how their characters relate to the Force. Because the Force is talked about so much throughout this movie. It is a major talking point. The movie talks a lot about the Force, but also the balance of the Force between the light side and the dark side. And I'm not admitting that I'm some sort of Star Wars scholar. I love the Star Wars series and the mythos behind it. But this is just what I took away from it. I feel like the movie was trying to say that it's not about being on one side or the other side, but about trying to find the balance between the light side and the dark side, and then making a decision for yourself. Again, this is just one guy's opinion. But the common thread between Rey, Kylo Ren, and Luke is the inner conflict that all three of them have. Rey starts out believing wholeheartedly in the light side of the Force, but then she begins to be tempted more and more by the dark side. She overcomes that temptation and says about Kylo Ren that there is goodness in him and that she has felt it. I also liked the conflict that Luke faced throughout. At the start of the movie, he was this jaded and cynical old guy who just wanted to die. And he believed that the Force and the Jedi were just nothing but a trumped-up legend. But it was Rey that convinced him that the galaxy just might need a legend in order to survive. I liked that. I liked the spirit of it. But I believe the most complex character in this entire movie was Kylo Ren. He starts out the movie and he's got so much conflict about him. He doesn't know whether he should be on the dark side or the light side. Spoilers for The Force Awakens, but when he kills Han Solo in an act that should have solidified his place in the dark side, it throws him into even more conflict. And after his first scene where Supreme Leader Snoke basically buries him and says that he's nothing more than a boy in a mask, he starts to second-guess himself. But after chatting with Rey on Force Skype, and after killing Snoke, the end of the movie saw his resolve stronger than ever. So, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger? And Snoke's death was just menacing. It was some hardcore stuff. He's sitting there monologuing like the resistance is finished and all that, while Kylo Ren's like, steady hands, steady hands. And then as he's monologuing, Snoke is in 2 pieces on the floor. I sat in the theater with 200 other people, and Snoke's death got one of the biggest pops of the night. And then after a great lightsaber battle with Rey and Kylo Ren on the same side, Kylo says, let's just burn it all. The Sith, the Jedi, the Force, let's just destroy it all. And then we learned about Rey's origin story in a way. She basically is nothing. She was born of poor people who just sold her off for drinking money. Which I'm very split on because I had read many fan theories that Rey was either the daughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the daughter of Han Solo, or the daughter of Luke Skywalker. But as it turns out, she's the daughter of none of them. She's just nothing. And when she learns this, she's kinda crushed. But again, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Her resolve is Super Saiyan at this point, and she rejects Kylo Ren's advances to get her to the dark side. My favorite sequence out of the entire movie was the third act on the Salt Planet. At first I thought they were going to another snow planet, and I was just sitting there like, not another snow planet! But it was actually a salt planet, and the planet actually looked really cool. The final battle had just a great mix of colors with the red and the white, and the beat up old speeders against the advanced First Order tech. I loved it. And Luke is particularly badass in this final fight. He shows up at the last minute. He looks up at the nearest AT-AT with Kylo Ren in it, and it basically, with his eyes, communicates, "Let's be having you." And Kylo Ren is like, "Alright, fire." And about 5 years of blaster fire later, Luke just shakes it off. He literally does. And I literally was like, and then Luke and Kylo fight. And at first I thought they were going to do the New Hope thing, where they duel and then Kylo just strikes Luke down and he disappears. But they don't do that. In the end, Luke ends up saying, "Strike me down out of anger, and I will always be with you, like your father." Kylo thinks about it for a second, and then in his mind he says, "You know what, that's a risk I'm willing to take." He charges and cuts him in half. Or does he? In what is basically the swerve of the Star Wars universe, Luke is actually a hologram. He's actually sitting halfway across the galaxy meditating like, Kylo, you are such a lightweight, And then the hologram just fades away, and so does Luke, while staring at a pair of suns. Full circle, folks. Easily the stuff between Luke, Kylo Ren, and Rey was the best part of the movie for me. I could have watched those three duel and go at each other for hours. But now let's talk about Leia and Poe, because they were actually pretty good. I really liked Leia in this movie, but the whole flying through space using the Force thing was a bit WTF-ish for me. This is what I was thinking when she was flying through the air. I believe I can fly. But I liked her performance overall. I think she did a much better job than in Force Awakens. Poe was also really cool. He had like this whole mistrust angle going on with Leia and with Laura Dern's character. And speaking of her character, I thought she was going to be just useless until one scene. And that one scene is when she turns the Resistance cruiser around and she hyperspace stabs the entire First Order fleet, proving that all Ryans are great filmmakers. Johnson drained all the sound out during that whole hyperspace cruise massacre thing. And the scene was beautiful in its destruction. But in the end, I think The Last Jedi is a great addition to the Star Wars saga. Is it perfect? No. But I certainly don't think it's bad. I had a blast watching Star Wars The Last Jedi both times I went to see it, and I will probably see it a lot more. And that is my review for Star Wars The Last Jedi. Did you guys like it? Be sure to leave a like, and if you're feeling kind, also subscribe. And did you like The Last Jedi? Did you hate The Last Jedi? Or did you think it was just okay? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this. And if you would like to follow me on social media, the links to my personal Facebook page, my Twitter, my Stardust account, and my Snapchat account will also be in the description below. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.